best 1080p dash camera. We have the Thinkware F790, the IROAD FX2, the GNET G-ONX, and the Vu GX33. All four of these units are 1080p front, 1080p rear. We're going to go over daytime footage, nighttime footage. We're going to do the blackout test. We're going to show you how they do it with motion detection recording while parked, time-lapse recording while parked, impact only as well. We're also going to show you current draw and the overall performance of these. You're going to be blown away because some of these units that you probably think are going to perform amazingly just don't cut it. Anyways, let's go. Dash cam resolution. All four of these units run a 1080p front camera and a 1080p resolution rear camera. However, the GNET G-ONX and Vu GX33 both run a front Sony STARVIS image sensor. Now moving over to the viewing angle, the Thinkware F790, IROAD FX2, and GNET G-ONX all have 140 degree front and rear viewing angle. The Vu GX33 has a front 132 degree and rear 134 degree. Now let's get into the Wi-Fi capabilities. If you're looking to use your phone to actually pair to it via the smartphone app, the IROAD FX2, GNET G-ONX, and Vu GX33 all use 2.4 gigahertz. Now the Thinkware F790 has the option of 2.4 and 5 gigahertz. You might be wondering, why would I want to have this? Well, with the 5 gigahertz option, you actually can download videos 3 to 4 times quicker than the 2.4 gigahertz dash cameras. So if you're someone who's looking to actively download videos on a regular basis, the Thinkware F790 is going to be a lot quicker for doing that. The micro SD card support on all these units, the F790 and the IROAD FX2 both support up to a 256 gigabyte card. The GNET G-ONX supports up to a 512 gigabyte, and the Vu GX33 will only support up to 128 gigabytes. GPS antenna and GPS information. So the big thing is the Thinkware F790 and IROAD FX2 both have the GPS antennas built into the unit. Now, when we look at the Vu GX33, it comes with an external antenna in the box, which you need to mount on your windshield. And the GNET G-ONX, you need to actually purchase a separate GPS antenna if you want that information. So basically what a GPS antenna does is it will embed speed and your location data directly into the video, so typically latitude and longitude. As well, the other extra added benefit is on the Thinkware and Vu, it will give you red light and speed camera data. So it'll say things like red light camera in 500 meters or speed camera in 500 meters. So it'll actually spit that information out while you're driving. This is not, and I just want to make sure to make this clear, this is not a GPS in terms of like telling you where to go. This is just for logging information and embedding speed. You also have the option to turn that speed data off just in case you have a heavy foot. So we're proceeding with testing motion detection, and let's start out with buffered recording. And if you can see here, Thinkware actually has 8 seconds of buffered recording before I enter the screen. Vu follows with 7 seconds, and IROAD and GNET have 2 seconds prior. So as we continue going, we're going to go around to the rear of the vehicle. It's going to show us coming around because the motion detection sensor is actually picking us up going to the back of the vehicle, which shows that all 4 cameras are capable of motion on front and the rear camera. Now we're going to go in and actually make an impact to the vehicle. And as you can see, we're going to make an impact, and all 4 of them registered and saved them as an impact to the vehicle. So it's working great. And then we're going to go directly to the rear camera. And the rear camera, we're also going to make an impact. And it's also going to register this as a separate impact in your folder. And that's how motion detection works. Motion detection at night. Thinkware is wide awake, and then followed by IROAD and GNET. The Find View doesn't wake up at all, even with its AI damage detection. And now we move on to the rear camera, where we can see that all 4 cameras wake up and are recording. So we can kind of see the Find View actually looks the clearest here. And then we move up to the front, and we're just going to move around. We're going to get a little bit closer to the camera, and the GNET's very impressive. Just, you can fully see my orange Monterrey, Mexico soccer jersey. So we're going directly into the impact only and energy saving mode, which only the Find View and Thinkware F790 actually have. We're using the IROAD FX2 in motion detection just so that you can see the reaction time from the IROAD FX2 difference to the Thinkware F790 and to the Find Vu GX33. So here we're actually going to test impact only, which is the energy saving mode. We've made impact, and you'll see 3 seconds later the F790 starts recording, and the GX33 takes 4 seconds to kick in and start recording. And now we're going to go around to the back and test to see how they do on energy saving mode on the impact on the rear. And the F790, you're going to see again, takes 3 seconds to kick in, and the GX33 doesn't wake up at all. So now that you've seen the impact test, you can see the Find View in the rear didn't wake up. Now you're probably thinking, hey Ben, that's kind of harsh. You only tested it once. No, the video is only showing you that I've tested it once. Just so you know, I did test it on 3 separate occasions, trying to get it to trigger. The thing that was interesting is when I had it in motion detection mode, which you've seen earlier in the video prior, the impact registered on the Find View dash camera. So why is it when I went into energy saving mode, which is a completely different setting, did the impact not register separately? Time-lapse parking mode. The Thinkware F790 is recording at 2 frames per second, the IROAD FX2 is recording at 1 frame per second, and the GNET G-ONX is also recording at 1 frame per second. Now, as you can see, they actually deliver them completely differently in how they actually break up it. The FX2 speeds through it and gives you only like 5 seconds. The G-ONX spaces it out over 30 seconds, same as the F790. And the GX33 failed to work at all. So as you can see, the Find View, yet again, didn't work. We had it on the 15 frames per second time-lapse mode. I spent over half an hour going through the video files on my phone via the app. Then I put it in, used their desktop app to actually go through all the files again. And I couldn't find it. No matter what I did, no matter how many times I tested, it didn't come up. So for me, I really don't want to give negative reviews out, but if it's this hard for someone who works in the industry every single day to find, how is it going to be for a consumer that's using the product? So anyways, hey, maybe there's something I've done wrong, but I've read the manual, I've gone through everything, I've gone through their website. I can't find anything that I did wrong. All I know is their impact only on rear didn't work. And so far now, the time lapse is showing that it didn't work at all. Hey, if there's someone who knows better, feel free to leave a comment down below. Always willing to learn, but this is what I'm finding. And I would never want to have a consumer have a product that's not working 100% the way it says it's supposed to be working. Let's talk about current draw. Let's start with the Thinkware F790. So, continuous recording current draw is 348 milliamps or 4.3 watts. And then when we go into parking mode, time lapse is 238 milliamps and 2.9 watts, followed by motion detection at 250 milliamps and 3.1 watts. And in the energy saving mode / impact only parking mode is 12 milliamps and 0.1 watts. Okay, let's go into the current draw for the IROAD FX2. So we're going to start with continuous recording at 275 milliamps and 3.4 watts. We're going to follow up into time-lapse parking recording at 273 milliamps and 3.4 watts. And then we're going to go into motion detection at 269 milliamps and 3.3 watts. So not much difference in energy consumption between time-lapse motion and continuous recording. So now we're going to go into the GNET G-ONX. And we're going to start with continuous recording at 224 milliamps and 2.8 watts of current consumption. Move over into parking mode of time lapse, and it's 190 milliamps and 2.3 watts, followed with motion detection at 187 milliamps and 2.3 watts. Let's talk about the fine view current draw. So continuous recording current draw is 285 milliamps and 3.5 watts. Moving into parking mode, we went into time-lapse 15, which is 15 frames per second, and that was 242 milliamps and 3 watts. Followed by motion detection at 256 milliamps and 3.2 watts, and the energy saving mode, which is impact only, after 1 minute of sitting parked, it changed to 0 amps and 0 watts. I don't know what was going on here, but I double checked it, and believe it or not, I let it sit there for a minute at 0 amps, and then I literally just tapped the dash camera, and it woke up and started recording again. And I was like, what the heck? What sorcery is this? So anyways, they're doing something cool with the energy saving mode that I haven't seen before. So anyways, that's what my meter's showing, and it's still working. So what we're actually going to do here is test low battery protection. And we're going to be testing all 4 of these units. All 4 of these units are set for 12 volts low battery protection, which means if the battery drops below 12 volts, the dash camera should shut off to protect the battery of the car. So all 4 of these units were tested. And basically what we came out with was the Thinkware F790 took 5 minutes before it completely shut off when it went down to 11.9 volts. When we went over to the IROAD FX2, it took 10 minutes to shut off. And the GNET G-ONX took 10 minutes as well to shut off to protect the battery of the car. And then the Vu GX33 took approximately 30 to 40 seconds when below the 12 volts at 11.9 volts to shut off to protect the battery of the car. Here's some daytime footage of the front camera followed by rear camera. Then we're going to go right into the nighttime footage and the blackout test. Enjoy. This is the Blackout Test. We're going to turn the headlights off and see how quick the dash cameras react to the changing lights. Pros and cons. Let's start with the Thinkware F790. The Thinkware F790 has HEVC file recording. What that means to you is basically you will get 1.7 times the amount of file storage. So if you typically would get, let's say, 2 hours of continuous recording with a 32 gig card, you're going to get approximately 3.4 hours of continuous record time due to the HEVC file. So we also have 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi, which allows you to download videos 3 to 4 times quicker than the other 3 units. It is by far the best parking mode out of all the units here. The GPS antenna is built in, and the unit has high dynamic range. Cons. Personally for me, the main con is the cables are really thick, and it may be a little bit hard to actually run the wires through the vehicle, depending on the vehicle you have. IROAD FX2. Pros. The GPS antenna is built in. The smallest dash camera out of all the units here. And it also has a multi-cover available so you can hide the wiring. Cons. If you're using Pixel phones, you need to use a VLC media player once you've downloaded it to your phone just so you can watch it. So it's not super simple to just watch it instantly when it's been downloaded to your photos. There's no HDR, and it's still using 2 gigahertz Wi-Fi. There's no 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi option. The GNET G-ONX. Pros. It's using a Sony STARVIS image sensor. Supports up to a 512 gigabyte micro SD card. It is the lowest current draw while continuously driving, and it has high dynamic range. Cons. In low light, when we were doing the blackout test, there was a whole whack load of lines off to the side because it was starving for light. And we have seen this on some other dash cameras and other videos as well. This also had the GPS antenna is external, and you have to purchase it for an additional price if you want that feature. And it's still also only using 2 gigahertz Wi-Fi. Let's go to the Vu GX33. It's using a Sony STARVIS image sensor. The other pro is it has ultra low current draw in energy saving mode. I don't even understand how they got it to 0. Maybe they're like charging up the supercapacitor or something, and it's holding voltage. They're doing something weird. I'm not sure what. It's very unique, very cool. HDR, it has high dynamic range. Cons. Parking mode is not working properly in motion detection at night, and also time-lapse just didn't work at all. No matter what I did. I don't understand why. Maybe it's a bad firmware. That's always a possibility. We did update it to the newest, latest, greatest firmware. And, well, guess what? Maybe there's a problem with the firmware. You never know. I'm just letting you know what I'm testing, right? It only supports up to 128 gigabyte micro SD card. The GPS antenna is external instead of being built in. It's still only using 2 gigahertz Wi-Fi. Also, the desktop software is very confusing. The dates are all over the place. For instance, it would say September 10th up here, September 10th down here, September 10th, way down here at the bottom. It'd be kind of all over the place. And, for a consumer, it's hard to find that video file. You want it to be easy. They have a lot of cool stuff that is supposed to make it easy, but then for some reason, it makes it hard. And it seems like sometimes files don't end up in the proper file space, especially when I'm looking on the desktop software. So The other thing is that I just really want to talk about this. And, when I first got the FindView camera as a sample, I think it was like 3 or 4 months ago now, the company sent it to me and I plugged it in and I went for a drive, right? And the reason why I do this is because a lot of consumers, what they're going to do is they're not going to log into the app. They're literally going to throw it on their windshield. They're excited. They're going to plug it into the cigarette lighter and go for a drive because they want to see how it works. Well, I went for about 3 hours of driving that day because I had installs and everything. And guess what ends up happening? I log in with the app and there's no recordings. So first thing I did was email FindView saying, hey, I've logged in. There's absolutely no video recordings on this dash camera. What's the deal? Like, is this thing just not working? And literally, I'm going like, what's going on here? Well, they have a glitch in their app. And this is exactly what I ended up telling them is, hey, you have a glitch in your app. When I put it on the desktop software, the video is there. Because the time zone is out, and it actually said that it was like the 18th or something like that, and I was driving around the day of the 17th. Now, you're probably saying to me, well, Ben, you should have went and changed the time zone. Yes, I understand that. But here, you have to understand, I am a retailer. I am very, informed on how the products work. And you have to understand that a lot of consumers are just going to plug it in and drive. And let's say you plug it in, you drive, you get into a car accident, you log in with your phone because that's what the company told you to do. You can't find the video footage. You're literally, the first thing in your head is going to be, this thing is a piece of crap. Okay? So that's what I emailed them nicely, just saying, hey, this is an issue. And all they did was saying, you set it up wrong. You need to set the GPS antenna time zone correct. I said, listen, I understand that, but you need to understand that you need to actually go, and I should be able to log into your app. I can do that with a Thinkware. It'll say like year 1900 when the GPS antenna time hasn't set up properly. I can still look at that video. Okay, I still have access to that video. On the FindView, you do not have access to it at all. Okay, so you need to understand this. That is why, because some people might ask me, why am I not carrying FindView? Other companies are. Because as soon as I sent them that feedback, they were not willing to listen to the feedback at all. They literally had a closed mind. They actually stopped communicating with me at all. And I actually thought for the longest time that maybe I gave them too hard of I was too hard on them because of one simple thing. But I looked at it as going, if they're closed-minded on this and there's problems in the future, why do I want to deal with them? I've sent stuff to Thinkware. I've sent stuff to Viofo. And guess what? All of them have been willing to listen, right? Same with GNET. I've sent stuff to GNET and said, hey, listen, this is a challenge. This is something that should be addressed. And they're willing to have that conversation. FindView wasn't willing to have that conversation. So then I did this video. And as you guys are seeing, you're watching this video, you're probably thinking, wow. Because I know for me, I thought maybe I was too hard on it. I know a few other YouTubers told me they wouldn't review it because they weren't exactly happy with the performance of the product, so they didn't put it on their channel. I thought I'd be wrong. After testing it and you guys seeing this, I've already shown the motion detection didn't work properly at night. The time lapse didn't work at all during the day, right? There are some cool things about it, but I think I had reason to be concerned about why Safe Drive Solutions shouldn't be representing this product. And I didn't really want to do a negative video, but at the end of the day, I gotta be honest, right? And that's a concern to me. This product it doesn't cut it. Straight up, it doesn't cut it. I gotta say the energy saving mode is something really cool. And if FindView watches this, I think they've done an amazing job on, I don't know what they did with the energy saving mode. I don't understand how they got it down to like nothing for current draw. That to me is amazing. Okay. So if you are going to buy the FindView, just keep in mind, you probably only want to use the energy saving mode because obviously they've done something cool with that and it's going to last a long time. It takes 4 seconds to hit. But I just think, you know what? I hope they take this feedback. I hope they make some adjustments, maybe with firmware, figure out what's going on. It seems like all these dash cameras that, we've seen that with the 70Mi as well, where they did something cool with the AI detection, and the AI was pretty cool, but the AI had problems with motion detection again at night. If you remember, it didn't turn on. So I think companies are really jumping on this AI wagon, and you need to think twice about that. I think you just need to have motion detection. People want it to work. Okay? Anyways, you know what? You guys have any questions? Please leave them down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you for all your support. Anyways, I'm Ben from Safe Drive Solutions. If you want to support us, take a look at us, safedrivesolutions.com. If you want to tell me what I tested wrong on the FineView, feel free to leave your comments down below. Email us, call us, text us. We're good. Anyways, cheers.